All right, good evening, ladies. I am so glad that you could make it tonight. I am very excited to share with you this Reach Your Goal Masterclass with you. So I have a little presentation that goes with that. I am going to share my screen with you, and I am going to talk about the Reach Your Goal plan that came to be, and voila. So I'll just share my screen right away. And I'm going to go into PowerPoint present PowerPoint. There we go. You guys can all see the screen. Fantastic. All right. So tonight's masterclass is, I created it. I wanted to offer you guys an insights on the plan that I have been using for the past 4 years that has helped not only me, but myself and Drew reach massive goals in the last 4 years. So you guys know I'm in health and fitness and I do Beachbody, but this has actually nothing to do with Beachbody. I'm going to mention it because it is part of my journey, but it is not what created this. So I just want to make that clear right away. Like, this is not a Beachbody meeting. It is really something that has to do with planning for your goals. Well, I'm going to share with you part of that plan. I'm going to ask you some questions tonight so you can, a little bit of thinking, a little bit of reflecting. At this time of year, especially, we are already a month and a half in the new year. And I know, because I've been there for so many years, that February is always that moment where, as much as we want to, all the goals or projects that we had written down and thought about for 2022 for the new year, they start falling flat. And this is where this starts. Actually, I got tired of being there. I was like, there has to be a different way. There has to be something that works. And so I looked back. I had many years of experiences as of what not to do. So I decided to use that to figure out what would actually work, because I knew very well what didn't. And so the plan slowly took place and was created. And I started seeing results really quickly. And when I talk results, yes, it is in my health for sure, but it's also in our finances, in Drew and I's relationship, and basically anything that we were struggling with. I implanted it first, but then I got very curious to see if it would work in other areas of our lives. So this is really something that can be used for, as far as I know, pretty much any goals you might have. So it is not limited to health goals, but it can be your career, it can be business, all of those things. Like, we have goals in different areas of our lives, and it turns out that I found out something that didn't even start with health. I started with my morning routine, and then that we applied to many different things in our lives, and that gave us really good results. And I'm going to share some of that with you too in a little bit here. So we'll get started. And I wanted to start with something that I believe 100%. Okay, I was not a believer, but I became a believer because this is so important. I have to believe it first. One of the first thing that is normally goes away is our ability to believe that we can reach our goals, because we know that in the past we did not reach some goals that we keep wanting to reach, or because we want to reach a new goal that we've actually never had any past experiences with. So, but the believing part, it's all inside of us. So I want you to just listen to this and let it sink for a little bit. I believe that I have everything right here, right now. I believe in myself to be successful and to achieve my goals. I believe I can learn from my experiences. There's a typo. I believe I can create my new reality. So I wanted to share that with you guys, because that is something that I'm not sure I had the belief when I first started, but it is so profound right now, and not just for me, but for everybody. I truly 100% believe that anyone can reach the goals that they set for themselves if they have the right plan for those goals. So now I'm gonna give you a couple minutes here to think about the answers to these questions. So about goals, right? We're here for goal setting, for goal to reach goals. So what are the goals you've always wanted to achieve? Have I achieved similar goals in the past? What am I good at when I plan for my goals? And what part of reaching your goals is hard? So I'm going to leave this screen on for a little bit. I'm going to turn on some music. You can write it down or just think about it. But this is your moment of reflection as of what's been happening with your goals right now and in the past.
Recording in progress.
Okay. All right. Okay. The reason for my asking, and I hope that you went wide and abroad with your goals, not limiting yourself to anything here. It's often we look at what happened in the past as something that stops us from reaching what we want now, because we've had what we call failure. I'll get back on that later. But the thing is, we forget the goals that we did reach. We forget the things that we accomplished. And we need to remember those stories for that believing part that I just shared with you. And so, and what part of reaching your goal is hard? It's really to pinpoint as much as possible what it is you think that really gets in the way of reaching your goals. So we're going to continue. So I said I would share with you tonight 3 tips about the plan that I use. And my tip number 1 is to create your new mindset. Coming from past experiences that are deserving you, it is important to create new experiences and stories to serve you and your goals. What you think and tell yourself determines the consistency of your action in achieving your goals, showing up for what you want, and in how you overcome obstacles and past experiences. Mindset is not necessarily something that I was really big on when I started. It was like, how is what I think or how I perceive myself or how I see what I've done in the past or what I can accomplish in the future really going to change anything. But think about it. What are your first thoughts when you wake up? That sets your day. That sets how you start your day. And that's going to set that's going to set it to, are you going to go for your goal today, or are you starting the day already not stopping yourself from going for it? I used to wake up and right away complain, I'm so tired. I could sleep longer. Like, why is it 7 o'clock already? Was that true? Sometimes. And I mean, even when I had babies there, they didn't sleep through the night. But if I wanted to be honest with myself, most of the time, I did get enough sleep. I did get enough sleep to wake up and be thankful for the sleep I did get. And just that changes everything. Makes me happy to think that I had enough sleep. It didn't have to be 10 hours. It didn't have to even be 6 hours. But I had some sleep and I was starting a new day. And the difference in between the two is a big part of how you'll get to your goals. What do you tell yourself about your goals? So, how do you wake up and think like, today I'm going to be one, at the end of the day, I'm going to be one step closer to my goal. Or, oh, no, today is not a good day. Forget about it. I'm not in the mood. I don't think today's the day. Major difference. But that's all about how you talk to yourself. What do you tell yourself about you? Do you uplift yourself? Do you cheer yourself on? Or do you bring yourself down? Come on, girl. It might be hard today, but you got this. You can take that step. It might be a little scary, but you'll feel fantastic afterwards. Let's go for it. Let's try it. Let's see where it brings us. Or, man, that looks hard. Like, I don't know. Not your cup of tea, not what you normally do. Are you going to do this? Is that going to make a change? What if you don't finish? What do you believe your results will be? Do you believe you're going to get to those results? Or are there excuses that pops up in your head and be like, well, never reached them before, so why would it be different today? Why bother? Why take the step? Or, man, I know I didn't do great in the past, but I'm giving myself another shot. I'm going to be good at this. I'm going to try this. I'm going to push further than I was before. No matter what happened in the past, it doesn't matter. Unless you want to learn from them, from those experiences, and use them to your advantage. If that's not what you're doing with them, leave them in the past. And then create new stories. Because I never ever believed before, until I changed my mindset, anything that I did in the past 4 years. I never thought I'd be able to get up before 5 o'clock in the morning and be happy to get up and feel fantastic. Like I had enough sleep. I have a full day ahead of me. I'm starting that day with doing something that I absolutely love. I never thought I'd create a workout routine. I never thought that I would get in the best health of my life. I never thought that Drew and I would get rid of so many debts. I never thought that we would be able to take vacation and trips and things like that. But that's all because we, yes, used the plan, but because we changed our mindset. And it had to start with me first. As much as Drew might have wanted me to get me on board, but he wasn't really in that kind of place either. it had to start with me. It had to start by stopping to tell myself lies. And I think part of it is because it falls into our comfort zone. So it keeps us there. But how do you feel when you don't reach your goals? When you're here in February and it feels like not much has moved? I don't know about you, but to me, I'm going to use a word, but it sucked. I hated it, but I had to convince myself that it was okay because that's what I had done every single year. I was like, well, maybe it's like, this is just not for me. I have to be okay with that. But I hated that feeling. And so I had to change the way I was taking on my day, the way I thought about myself, the way I was talking about myself to myself. Your mindset is something that is totally workable. I worked on mine and I still do every single day, you guys. Every single day I work on my mindset. Because it's a lifetime of habits that we're changing. So we need to fuel it and feed it with the good stuff. But it was one of the major shifts that allowed me to reach my goals. Tip number 2. What should your number 1 goal be? You probably came here with a list of goals that you have set for yourself for this year. And one of the things that I've seen over and over and over and over again in the last 4 years through coaching is having this list and trying to do it all. We love to be superwoman. We love to do it all. We love to say that we're working on all the things. I have that issue anyways. But when it comes to being successful at reaching your goals, it starts with choosing the one first right goal to start with. And it might not be the one you think. You want to choose the goal that by default is going to have the most impact on the rest of your goals. And many of you know me as like the girl that started on this fitness journey, lost 50 pounds, became a coach, and then now started her business and all of that. My goal number 1 was not even fitness. It was health, but it wasn't fitness. It wasn't, my number 1 was not about that. My number 1 goal for me had to be to create space for me. And that happened when I created my morning routine. And that's where the plan came to be. So you might have relationship goals, you might have career business goals. If you've started a business, or if you're thinking of starting a business, you might have health goals, financial goals. All of those are super important if they are on your heart to reach. But the way the plan works and the way I work with the women in my small group in the mastermind course is we choose together the number 1 goal that they are going to be working on, and that's going to be their focus. And then we're going to choose the one that impacts all the rest kind of falls into place or eventually finds its way into it to get results in many areas. The thing is, when we focus on too many, or when we have too many, we spread ourselves too thin. And then we don't feel like we're moving anywhere. And that's where the frustration gets in, and that's when we want to give up, because what's the point? I don't see any change. So for relationship, my relationship goal was with myself. I was not a happy person. I didn't like where I was. I didn't like who I had become. I needed to find myself. At the moment, like when I started 4 years ago, I had no career or business goals. That wasn't something that was even on my list. My health, yes, because definitely there was room for improvement. Finances, yes. Yeah. So, but the very first one that I chose to go with was to create that space for myself, that routine, that morning routine, because if I could create that, I could see having a better relationship with myself. I could see taking care of myself and making my health better. I had no idea where the finances would get into that, to be honest. But somehow they came into play later on, but they came into play. And because the plan is so focused on one of those goals, then that's when you see progress every single week. And that's exciting. And that keeps you going. When you say you don't have the motivation to keep going because you don't see anything happening, well, the plan puts that in place so that you do. And then that's how you get the fire and the passion and the excitement, because it's happening. For our finances, for Drew and I, that was a goals couple more than a me goal. We had a lot of debts. No shame in the game, but we had a lot of debts, and it was really hard on our couple. It was really hard to plan anything. We did not see much of what we wanted to do in our future, or any future, like near future anyways. So 2 years ago, just before COVID, our timing was fantastic. So just about 2 years ago, I shared with Drew the plan that I was using for my goals. Because I thought, what if it worked for finances? What if we focused on little things at a time? And Drew was like, well, we can try. He gave me a shot. So we started small. We had $16,000 on a credit card that we both hated. He was a full-time student, no income. I was teaching, so I had that income. And I had I had started my business as a coach, so I was making an income with that, but not enough to say we're going to pay off what we owe. And so I said, why don't we use the plan to try it out, see how it goes. We'll try it out over a period of 6 weeks, then we'll readjust, because the plan is for 6 weeks, and then we'll readjust, and then we'll go for another block of 6 weeks if we did see progress. And over time, during COVID, only one income, we knocked off those $16,000 in 1 year. The following year, last year, actually, last summer, we were able to pay cash for the renos on our house. We redid all of the exterior. That was about close to $6,000. We went on a family summer vacation for a week, paid for, cash. I had the best 40th birthday ever. Well, you only have one, but I had it exactly how I wanted it. A whole weekend with my husband, away from the kids, and just enjoying life and going wherever we wanted for meals, and the hotel I wanted to. We spoiled ourselves, paid for cash. And then in December, we went on a trip to Jamaica. That was offered by the company. I earned that trip through Beachbody. But our expenses there, like our meals and whatnot, like they were not paid for. We paid for all of that cash. We came back, no debt. And on top of that, we also knocked off another $10,000 off of our line of credit in this past year. So all that started with this 6-week plan that moved on to being the base, the basis, the solid foundation for all of the other changes that we did over time, focusing on that one goal of getting rid of as much debt as we could. Those are the results that came with it. And how it impacted everything else, well, I can let you guess how it feels to knock off debts that you don't want to have, right? And be able to do the things and go for the experiences that you want to have now. Because I couldn't see that until I basically retired from teaching. Now I see myself retiring from teaching pretty much whenever I want to. But that's part of my business as well, which is a little bit different, but I do want to mention it. Like, this is something that I can see happening. And for Drew and I to go on trips with the kids, and it's not money for money, it's money for the experiences that the money actually gives. It's not to have a ton of money in the bank necessarily. We are doing that too. We've been able to save money also. Like, we're not just pushing it out for debt repayment. We also set, part of our plan was to set aside some savings, and we have enough to be able to offer our family very soon a trip for 6, wherever we want. So it all started with getting into my morning routine. So for me, sorry, I'm having a moment. It's just crazy to think from where everything was, where I was, to where things have grown to be. So this is something that, if for you, like your career, you're looking for something different, or you're looking at starting a business, or you're looking, and you know that that's going to improve your life, if you're tired of what you're doing right now and you need a change, and you know that that's going to improve your joy, and that's going to bring you more joy to do something else, to bring you a different source of income, to give you a passion to wake up to in the morning, then maybe that's where you should start. If you're really struggling with your health, if it gets in the way of your everyday life, then maybe that should be your goal number 1. But this is something that we go through together through the mastermind course, to make sure that the 6 weeks that we spend together are really focused on that one first goal that's going to make the most impact. Because that impact, everything else will follow. Tip number 3, and that's the narrowing down of the plan. What are the step-by-step actions to your goal? Because very often we have the goal, we know where we want to go, but the steps are not necessarily there, or they are not the ones we need to take. In order to create a plan to your goal without overwhelming your already busy schedule, it is of the most importance to break it down into the small, measurable, step-by-step actions. So questions that we ask ourselves are, one of the questions that I asked myself when I wanted my morning routine was, what is the first step I need to create consistency? Because I knew that chances were I would not stick with it just like that because I wanted a morning routine. I couldn't get myself out of bed until 7:15, and then just rush out the door and somehow manage to get everybody out the door at the right time. But how in the world was I gonna commit to getting up at 5? So what was that first step that I needed to create consistency? And then following that, what are small measurable actions that are required of me to create the new habit I need to see success? So it turns out for me, my morning routine was not to set my alarm clock 5 o'clock in the morning and just go. I did it in steps, a little bit at a time, going back with my alarm clock. But that in itself was not enough. I had to have something in place that would force me out of bed. And that's where I started actually my business. Because I thought if I have, well, I was passionate about it. I really wanted, it was on my heart to help women be healthy and get to their goals. And I knew that with that passion, I would be able to get out of bed. And to come and sit and take a moment to just breathe, just be, and to start thinking about how I wanted to share, how I wanted my business, and plan for that, and start connecting with women and letting them know what I had to offer and what I was doing and all those things. And I love that. So I started that. But then at some point it that was a good step, but that wasn't the right step. It had to be something different before that. It was a little too harsh to get up and get on the computer on my phone. So what I did not throw the plan out. I changed the plan. The action that I had chosen to do was not the right first one. So I went back and decided that instead I would do something for me, because I needed my relationship with me to be good. So then I started reading in the morning, doing meditation, journaling, those things that actually put me in a good mood. And then I was able to focus on my business. And then I added my workout in there. But step by step, it didn't happen overnight. It had to be the one goal first, and to find the right actions. And when I say actions, I'm talking 1 to 2 actions to begin with, something simple. Because remember, we don't want to overwhelm ourselves nor overcharge our schedules, because they're already crazy. The question I want to go over with you is, when you see those goals, when you see yourself reaching those goals, basically you're creating something new, right? You're changing your life. You want something more. What excites you most about that new life? How are you enjoying life more because you've reached your goals? And that is super important, because that is part of your vision. That is part of your mindset. That is something that you can always come back to push further. And the other question that is required is, do you believe it will be your reality? Because I do. I am repeating myself, but I do believe that anyone with goals can reach those goals. And you might still have doubts, and doubts will come. But if you see somebody else reaching the goals that you want to get to, trust me, those people, they don't have anything special. They don't have superpowers. So if they can reach it, so can we. that was one of the things that I told myself. I say, how come there are other women out there that are reaching goals that I've been wanting to reach for years, and yet I'm still where I am, and they've reached theirs. And not only that, but now they're pushing further. And then I thought, why not me? Why not me? A little quote for you. Keep some room in your heart for the I can't pronounce that word, you guys. Unimaginable. It would be better in French for that one, to be honest. But keep some room for imagination, for dream, for seeing it, for feeling it. It's amazing. And if you have that or those goals on your heart, go after them. Imagine and go for them. And so I've shared with you tonight 3 tips that I hope are going to be as useful to you as they are to me every single day. Every single time I set a goal for myself. And then I go through those 3 steps, and then I go through my plan to set it up, to get going, and then to see the progress that I want to see. And so in January, I had a small group of women that I did this program with, this course with. And it's been over 6 weeks, and their goals were very different from one another. They came from all different backgrounds, and it was wonderful. Some had health goals, wanted to lose some weight. Others just wanted to, some wanted to create space for themselves. It's a lot of very busy moms' goal, but it's also, even if you're not a mom, your life is busy. Everybody's life is busy. And creating that space was what was most important for her. And now she has her morning routine, and she has that moment where she can breathe. And now her babies come in, and it's okay. It's part of life. She accepts it. And she's got over all the little frustrations that she was living, because she knows that all in all, like, the plan that she created gave her that space, and whatever she can get from now, because kids grow up and they won't be they won't be just appearing in and interrupting all the time. So it's also learning that balance and giving yourself grace, but without giving up on your goals. I was frustrated at first when the kids would come in during my morning routines. I got up earlier for this, you guys. What are you doing here? But that was just putting a cloud on my routine. So when they come in, I made them part of it. And now it's some of the best times I have ever. It doesn't happen very often anymore. But when it does, it does. And it just, I've achieved my goal anyways, or I'm working on it anyways. And for somebody else, it was, she wanted to start her business. And so brand new entrepreneur, and just wanted to set up her business in small steps, because she felt overwhelmed. She felt like there was a lot going on, but she knew that that's what she wanted to do. So she took the 6 weeks with us, and she has a makeup business. Has nothing to do with, I do use the plan with my coaches, and I do use, this is something that I use for my business, but like I said, it's not specific to Beachbody. So she was starting her own skincare and makeup business, and now she's launched, and last thing we heard before our final meeting is that she had gotten clients and she was super excited, and she was very excited for what was to come because she had gotten good feedback, but she also had stopped. One of the things that was stopping her, or that was kind of taking away a little bit of her joy in it, was how people around her reacted to her coming out with that business idea. And we worked on the mindset for that. And she was really, she said, you know, it was hard. She says, I guess it's still going to be something that I'm going to have to keep myself in check with. But Carol, I absolutely adore makeup and skincare. And if people don't understand that, then maybe that's not what they need. But for those who do, and who I want to share what I love with, then that's fantastic, because the connections that I've made are they're so special. And so anyway, she was really, really excited. And I can't wait for our next meeting to hear more about that. But that's what's happened in the last 5 weeks for her. So the Reach Your Goals with Purpose is my mastermind course. This is what I did with them. And so it is a very small group. I don't take a lot of people because I do want to focus on you, on your goal, to go through the whole process together and to really hone in on your one goal, figure it all out together and have your very specific personalized plan for that. So the way it works, we have weekly meetings for 6 weeks because the program is 6 weeks. We have the setup meeting, then we have week 1 for the plan, where the first one is meeting, setting up, and choosing the goal. And then the second one has to do with setting the plan up, and then goal statement and mindset. We do the step-by-step weekly plan. We use the measuring tools. I'll get back to that in a little bit. And then we create lifelong habits. So those are the modules, and there are videos and tutorials and material that comes with that. So there's a part where it's to do on your own, at your own pace, and that you can always go back to whenever you need to go back to. And there's the material is like reflection questions, filling out information, just your thoughts. And so that when we do get together, we can really work on your specific project. And so over the course of the 6 weeks, what's beautiful is that we get to see everybody's progress from 1 week to another. And because we meet, we also have that support, and we get so many ideas and I was going to support again, but ideas and tools and resources from what I share with you, but from others too, because we all have our experiences, and it comes together beautifully to help one another. And so those 6 weeks are also followed afterwards by 2 bonus follow-ups. It's not 6 weeks and then done and moving on. No, I'm going to check on you. I'm going to check on you in the following 4 to 6 weeks. And we'll see where things are at. And you get to ask all of your questions all the time. And so that you get the answers that you need, and you get to adjust and to keep moving forward. Speaking of tools, your measuring tools will be determined by your goal. Mine for my morning routine, I said I would talk a little bit about Beachbody, but for me, Beachbody was the tool that I needed to make it work in that morning routine and later on in my health goals, because of the variety of short workouts that I have access to from home, and the simplicity of the meal plans. So to me, having everything wherever I am, but mostly when I'm home and not having to spend any more time than I need to, those were part of the tools that I used. I used the app to track my workouts. That was my check-in. That was my way to see every single week what I had done, with the meal tracker as well. But I used so many other different measuring tools that I'm sharing as well, depending on what your goals are. My journal is one of them. Some of my books are some of them. It's a variety of things. Of course, yeah, so those are the modules we go through in the course. And so this, because this first group is now getting to an end, I am opening a second group that is launching next week on the 21st. The 21st is not the first meeting, but the material and videos and tutorials and all that become available to start on it. And then the first meeting will be shortly after, and within the first 2 weeks after February 1st. And I am, because of the results that we achieved with the first group, I am super excited to offer this course to a new group. And there is an amazing launching price right now with payment options to you guys. I am doing this from A to Z with you, and we go over everything together over the course of 6 weeks. And I'm going to leave the link to that information because I don't want to put it all out here. There's no point for now, but it's just for you to know. If it speaks to you, if you have goals that you're tired of starting over, giving up, the way I felt for so many years, this program and this plan could be what helps you move past those, I'm going to call them blockages, but to push you where you should be, where you want to be. And I can't do it for you, but we're going to make sure that you have everything to do it. And I'm going to be there every single step of the way. So I have, like I said, it's small group. It's 5 to 7 people. I already have 2 people that have signed up to start next week. So that's fantastic. Just so you know, it's narrowing down, and I cannot wait. I am so excited to go over all of this again with new goals, with new plans and new goals that fit your life. And no, you don't have to wake up at 5 in the morning. It's not the point of this, but it is so that you wake up with a passion in your heart for the life that you're living. And that is my goal for you through your goals. Okay, so it's really, you guys, when you wake up in the morning and you have stars in your eyes and you smile and you're just like, you have your heart pumping, and it's just from excitement because you know you get to go to do something, to be more for yourself and maybe for others if you're building a business or if you're working on a career plan, and I'm saying for others, it can be your family. There's a ton of things that I do that is for my family. And all of that started with working on myself, but it ended up being huge for my family as well. But that's what I want for you. I want you to wake up excited by the life that you're creating, those new habits that you want to see in your life. So I will stop the share a screen at the moment because I see chat. I see hellos. I'm going to stop to do this so I can share the link that I just talked about. And then if you ladies have questions, now would be the time. You can turn on your your microphones if you want to, or write the questions in the chat. And if you don't, it's okay.
Hey, Carolyn.
Hey, Kim.
It's just funny that, I mean, it's not funny. It's just, as you know, my posting that I've been doing is like, were you reading my mind or something? You know, like it's crazy. It's like, it's really good that you have this going on. And as you were going through it, and then you got to that point where it's like, what should your number one goal be? And right away, the one thing that come to me is me. I'm the number one goal. And once I get me in place, then everything else is just going to roll with it. And so it's just like, oh, she's been reading my mind. So this is really good stuff. I'm excited. So yeah, thanks. I'm glad I tuned in.
I'm glad you joined, and I'm glad it was helpful. Yes.
Yes, very much. Thanks.
You're welcome. All right, you've been super patient. You've been wonderful. Again, thank you so much for showing up. Like, this is, I'm gonna be on a high after this. The good kind. And so thank you so much. If you do have questions that come to mind later on, by all means, email me, message me, and I will be more than happy to answer. I know sometimes it doesn't come right away, and then it's been like you think about it later in the night, or like the next day, like, oh shoot, I should have asked that. Well, don't hesitate, okay? Just reach out, and whatever it is, I'll be happy to help you to the best of my knowledge. But yeah, all right. So thank you again. You have a wonderful evening, and you take care of yourself.
Thanks, Kettle.
My pleasure. Thanks for being there, Kalinda. I appreciate it.
Yeah, a lot of thinking to do now. What goal do I need to do the first?
Well, that's the point. If it directs you in the right direction, then perfect.
Isn't that funny though, how soon as you started saying, look at what goal you need to do first, and this is exactly where I've been, I started going into a state of panic immediately. I started, oh my God, I can't accomplish what I want to do right now. Now I have to do one more thing. And I immediately started to feel panic, which tells me that I need to set goals. But I immediately felt a fear of, okay, which goal needs to come first? Which goal will happen first for the others to fall into place? And so I think that's important too, is to get past that fear, to just take a step and start somewhere, because I have a list a mile long of goals and I keep panicking about them.
Thank you for sharing. I know.
Yeah.
I know the feeling is all I can say. Maybe it's not the exact same goals that you know we're looking at, but I'm an anxious person. I have panic attacks at times, and so that's one thing that actually having this plan in place helped with, is that I'd look at it and be like, okay, like panic would set in, and then be like, okay, this is what you need to do. Calm down, you have it here. And that has helped tremendously with stress and anxiety, because yes, there's a lot, but at least right now, I'm doing this one thing. And it's okay to be doing this one thing.
Right.
Thank you for sharing. I know it's hard.
Yeah, but I think that's the important part, is setting that goal and just trying to get one thing instead of making my list of 20 things and then looking at it and going into a complete panic attack saying, how do I do this on my own? How do I do any of these things? And then you shut down completely because everything goes into chaos. And then it's trying to get your mind to calm down again. So then that has to go back to the top. How do I get my mind to calm down so that I can start to reach each goal again? So yeah, I think that's right. Just
And I think you're talking like what you're sharing is ringing bells with many of us right now. You're not alone is what it is.
yeah.
So I hope I'm glad if that the tips that I shared tonight are helping you kind of see how you can start one point at one place.
Right. Thank you for sharing. I know your life is busy too. 4 young kids. I remember being there with 4 young kids, and we're both teachers, and how you're doing this is kind of blowing my mind.
I love it. I love it. I make time for it. It's part of our family plan too. Like the family knew tonight, this is what I was doing, and they're happy doing their thing on the other side of the door. And then I'll be joining them afterwards, and we'll hang out before we go to bed, and it's all good.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the things that's helping me is I know you're a teacher, so I know your busyness there. You're a mom of 4, so am I. So like you said, you're not a superhero. You're a normal person who sets goals. So it looks tangible, even though it feels really far away right now. So thank you for sharing and for giving me some hope.
You're very welcome.
And good luck to the rest of you ladies, depending if we meet up again next week or not.
I'm open for questions, but like I said, if nothing else comes up for right now, then I will leave you to your evening, and then you can reach out in the meantime. All right, ladies, you have a wonderful evening. Thank you again for being here tonight.